This is Richard back at you, guys. Oop. This is Richard back at you. Don't want to show too much of my back, right, Teresa? This is Wesley's 92 flatbed pickup 2500 480E 6.5 diesel. Actually got a turbo on this one, guys, so that's pretty good. I mean, some of these, I believe the earlier designs didn't have a turbo on them. But anyway, 480E tranny, early design. The cooler lines are both up at the front instead of divided, one at the front, one at the rear. Now, he said this thing had reverse and second gear only. I'm not sure how that was to be, but when we got in it, it didn't even want to really hardly move. We had to almost pull it in with a four-wheeler to get it up the hill. So, but man, these things are heavy. I mean, this tranny is heavy.
And Trey had to dig it out too.
Yeah, I mean, we had to dig it out of a ton of mud. You can just see.
You can see.
We're going to try to keep a little bit of the dirt on the case without knocking it on the bench. But we noticed here, if you look here, it kind of looks like you see cracks in the converter right there, where it's like it's been flexing back and forth or something. That's not paint. It actually looks like it's starting to crack in the metal.
Yeah.
That's a stock torque converter, so nothing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Get this thing out of there. These are one heavy torque converter, let me tell you.
Yeah, that didn't look too good.
No, the hub is pretty chewed up too. Now I don't know the mileage on this thing.
188,000.
188,000. Man, I tell you, you can see it's been painted. It looks like the pump's been painted, so it looks like it's been into before anyway.
I read a post yesterday that says that I'm losing my job. Cody does a better job than me.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. They
Do you-
want closer.
Whose checks do you sign, Teresa?
Cody.
Uh-oh. That ain't looking good, is it, guys?
Well, I'll try to do better.
Try to do better. Okay, we have our input speed sensor here. Not a lot of metal on it or anything. Get our output speed sensor here. Now we do have a speed sensor on the transfer case too. Oh, fluid does look pretty nasty.
Yeah, it does.
Really don't see a lot of fluid in the connector, really almost none at all, if any at all. But we do have a new wiring harness that'll be here this morning, because on these here, I mean, you just can't take a chance. Now you notice here, both of our cooler lines are side by side, where instead of having one here and one back here. So. It's just amazing how heavy a 480E is. I mean, it is heavy. So we know 182,000 miles it's been into some form, fashion, or way. I don't know where the filter is.
Where's the magnet?
Yeah, there's no magnet in it either.
There's no filter?
Let me see if Cody and him took the filter off this real quick. I'm going to ask them. Hey, Cody, did y'all pull the filter off that 480E? You did? Okay. I was just making sure there wasn't nothing in the pan. Okay, Trent did pull it off, so there was a filter in there. Now, this is a early design pan. It's a shallow pan. So the filter that goes in this one here doesn't have the little legs on it like I'm going to show you.
That kind of scared me.
Yeah, it did me too. So you can see here, this one has a deep pan, has legs on it to hold the filter up. Now this one here, if you put this on here, it shut the suction plumb off and destroy the tranny. So the filter that goes on there has no legs. So. Pan looks pretty decent. Now we don't know if he serviced it beforehand or what, but
Maybe because he changed, he was trying to do anything and everything.
to make it work, yeah. You can see here we have a pressure control solenoid, our PWM solenoid here. Now some of the ones had a temperature sensor here in the wiring harness. You can see here in the K, or not temperature sensor, excuse me. Is that one? No, it's not. The temperature sensor is here, but some type of pressure sensor right here. So I don't know if this is an inbreed, mixed breed, or whatever breed, but it's, we get a lot of things in here that have been a part of a million times by different people, and you can see here it's tie strapped here, it's tie strapped here. I actually tie strapped it around the solenoid right there.
Hmm. You just thought you had other tools.
Yeah. And you have your shift solenoids. And so we got a new harness coming, so get rid of this one here. Now you can see here, being that this is an early design, the lube tube goes all the way from the front of the valve body to the rear to lubricate the bearing and bushing back here. And if it was a two-wheel drive, it'd lubricate your tail housing bushing. Now the later designs brought a tube off here and went down into here. They shortened everything, changed it up. So you got a little retainer right here that holds the tube in. Same way here. That one gets me every time. So these down here are all 10 millimeters. Even on your detent spring here is a 10 millimeter. And then on your pillow switch, it's all 8 millimeters. Bolts are the same length, so just different head size. They say these are all little pillow switches here. You can feel them click when you push on them. Clean them up. So you can get O-rings to replace this. Your overhaul kit will come. You can pop these out and put new ones in. Pretty simple. You definitely want to look at the plate right through here. Well, here, look, we've already got a check ball beat through the case right here, or through the plate, and it's stuck in there. So this is a critical area that we always look for wear in the plate and stuff. Now, we're going to be putting a shift kit in here, a Sonex shift kit, so there will be some holes, modifications, and stuff like that. We'll have to get another plate or repair this one here. Then you got all your 2 accumulators here, or 3, and you have another one here. Now the later version did away with this spring and valve here, totally missing. And you got these 2 here. Now the springs are different lengths. Just have to keep them together. You have a gasket here just for that. And like I said, you got a check ball stuck in the plate. Now you can, this gasket here is definitely an aftermarket gasket. So we know the valve body's been off too. Now being that it's a 480E, these always have lockup issues and stuff. We're going to be coming in here and putting a Sonex lockup valve in here. They give you 2 different spring tensions to give you a factory style lockup feel, or an aftermarket firm, a little bit firmer race car type towing application feel, just a little bump. I like the bump, but not everybody does. But being that he's a farmer, he's going to be towing, you know, he's going to be pulling hay and all kinds of stuff. We're definitely going to give him the little bit of bump to help that converter out. So now we want to do just read your instructions on your kit. That way you don't mess up there. You got your engine brake servo right here. Your kit will come with a new seal here. You Scotch Brite this up a little bit before you put it in the washer. Check balls. See one here, 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 here. Now I'll actually go back with rubber check balls through this area, even once I get the plate repaired. Now there is a spot right here you could drop a check ball in there and it looks really pretty, but a check ball does not go there. So it's real easy to do. And what's crazy is if you look at the plate, it even has a spot for a check ball. If you look at it, it's got a bleed and a deal. It sits right there. Sits right on there where you'd think a check ball went there. But if you look in your overhaul kit and stuff like that, it does not get a check ball right there. Pretty simple. How's this tranny smell, Teresa? Does it smell bad?
No, not as bad as what I've smelled before.
Yes. Now you have your reverse band servo. So you got all these. This will be like a rubber seal, and then some of these will be a Teflon seal. Just always put the seal on here that come off here. Bless you. Scotch Brite this up, because you know a new seal is going to be running in the bore. Scotch Brite this up around here. That way this piston can move. Same in here. So we Scotch Brite all of our aluminum surfaces up everywhere we're going to be running a new seal. That way it has some oil in those fine scratches. That way the piston slides a lot smoother. Now you have your overdrive clutch apply bolt right here. That's a hollow bolt. You can blow air through this bolt and actually apply the overdrive clutch. Your shift kit will come with a different bolt. And then you have another bolt right here for your intermediate clutch, your third gear clutch, your reverse clutch. We always Loctite these in, but your overhaul kit will come with a new bolt. Once you get done building this back, you always want to flat file this, clean this all up really good. Because anytime you get your socket in here, it kind of raises it up around this area. So you want to do that. Now you can definitely tell this thing's had its days in the field with all this dirt stuck around this seal. Look at that.
It's a leaker.
Plus, once it starts getting dirt in here, it starts eating up the seal. Seal starts leaking, attracting more dirt to the area. So here we go. Now, I'm sure this has got a dust cover on it. You can tell here it looks like it's got something bolted. So if it doesn't, we would find one and try to cover that area and keep that dirt from getting in there. So we already took our lockup seal off here. So we should be able to just pry the pump out, get it out there. Now they do make two different pumps for these, so you got to be careful. Make sure you get the right pump if you replace it, because they got a rear lube and a front lube, so got to be really careful. I'll look at it really close through here. I don't have my gloves on, but that looks a little bit of wear right there. Or excuse me, I don't have my gloves on. But anyway, I'm okay. But anyway, you want to check it right here. I can't feel it, but I see something. But
I do too. You can see it.
yeah, so if it's wore right through here, you're in trouble. This cannot be used. You're going to have to find another one. And like I say, this is an early design, so. I mean, this thing, when they had the pump out of it before, they probably just put a weak pump back in it, to tell you the truth. It's hard to say how many miles it's got on it since it's been out.
Yeah.
The body even has a lot of wear through here. So basically a whole nother pump in this thing. So that's kind of sad. Pumps are terrible to find for these. We have our overdrive planet here, and the underdrive clutch right here. Engine braking clutch. Pull that snap ring off there. Pull this out. Now you have two O-rings here, one here, one here, one here, one here. So anytime you get wear here, or this start seeing the shaft look kind of funny where it's been rubbing, you'll see it'll be down into here. But let me get this, I'm going a little farther, or a little too fast, hang on. We've been busy, let me tell you. Now this being an early model tranny, it's got the early style roller clutch, where the later versions had a little tiny one that went in here that you'd almost go, oh my gosh, how does that even work? See if I got one handy really quick I can show you. Now they did change the drum and the planetary and everything, so this little bitty one will not work. But you can see what they went to. The diameter is smaller, so it changed the planet on the inside here. This is just tiny, wraps around. And this locks in there. So the drum's different, planet's different, sprag's different. The gear's the same, so you can retrofit this forward and backwards as long as you use these same pieces. So, but most of the time, the sun gears wore out here. I mean, you can see this one's really shiny. I can get in here and clean it up, and I guarantee it's already wore plumb out. But we've already got new ones sitting here. You can see here, we've already ready, new planetary, new sun gear, new forward drum bands and stuff. Got some nice Sonex billet shafts and hubs and stuff we're going to be putting in this too. So it's going to turn out to be a really nice truck. This farmer shouldn't have any issues. He does it right, I tell you, when he does his trannies, that's for sure. Now the piston will interchange from early and late too, but the springs won't. This piece here is different, so you gotta be careful. And you have your overdrive clutch. Starting to look pretty tired, isn't it, Teresa? This thing here cut me last time I messed with one. Sometimes this is hard to get out. This is really hard to get back in if you've never done one. If you ever tried at home, you're going to be cussing for days to get this back together. And it's not so much getting this snap ring in there, it's getting these two seals that you got here. You got one here, and then you got one here. When you're putting these together, you got to set them together. You got to take your knife, scribe, and go around it this way, go around it this way, and try to get it to work. Once it pops in there, it'll look just like this. Come on. It'll look flat like that. And then what I do, I'll take a shell, set that on there like that. See how it's flat? Then I'll put this in here, and then I'll set them, put my snap ring back in. Do it that way. But this ain't the hard part. The hard part is getting these two back together with your seals on it. So. We have our forward drum here. Forward clutches are actually pretty thin. Hardly nothing on them at all. They're not fried, but there's just nothing there. So you want to look down through here too, like I was telling you, where that shaft can rub, where them two seals run on this shaft right here. Because it sets down in there like that. So both sides. This side you want to look here. that looks good. Just take some Scotch-Brite, clean it up really nice. Always put a new bushing in here because this bushing here is what keeps this shaft from touching. So in your clutch hub, you can see here it's just wore plumb out.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, it's kind of, this thing's making metal like crazy.
Yeah.
I bet before they serviced it, I bet that pan was just full of metal.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen one that bad.
Mm-mm.
We're pretty good here too. But like I said, we're going to put this beautiful hardened Sonex one in here and get rid of this old cheapie. If you listen, pot metal, got the ring to it. So this is our third gear drum here. Yeah, these clutches are really thin too.
Mm-hmm.
Now we still have a bevel plate here. Actually, it's you can call it a wave plate, but it's actually a bevel. You can a wave is more with a steel that's wavy. You can retro this back and put a wave on this, and it'd work as long as you set it up right. These are bad about breaking.
That one looks like it's with that right there.
Yeah, I can't tell with my gloves on, but if it's got any type of groove here, because this kind of has to slide on that piston when it sets down in there. So you want to leave it in there, whether it's a farm truck, no matter what. If you're going race car, don't take it out. You don't matter high stall converter. But if you take this out, you're going to get a very harsh reverse. No matter what, if you got a high stall converter, you're not going to feel it. It's bad. But being a four-wheel drive truck like this, farm truck, I mean, he's not even going to want to put it in reverse if you leave that wave out of third gear. And that's how they can control the reverse engagement, the feel, because the band itself, it's just going to come on. You got this spiral type ring. Keeps this from coming off. The early ones were just a snap ring that they could open up and fly off, but we'd come in here and just TIG weld the tips of the snap ring right here. That way it can't open up and get out of there. All of our race cars and stuff like that we do. Now this one here, spiral, it won't come apart. It'll be good to go. Now you notice the sprag turns to the right. You want to just remember that. We have a chart in the brake room in there that tells us every sprag rotation. So if we ever mess up, forget or something, have a bad day, we can go look. You definitely want to look at your race here. Looks very wore. Actually, I thought I had one somewhere. What I did, actually, but you can see here, it's just wore out.
Yeah.
All the way. Hopefully the drum's good, because that's mainly what we want, because we got races. Drums are getting pretty scarce. Got your sprag here. And we have a brand new one sitting here we're going to be going back with. So we just, mainly here is where you're going to be looking for any type of chatter marks, anything like that. Like I said, I like to get in here and see if I can feel anything. Or if it's just a stain. Looks pretty good, really. It's hard to say through here. I just got to get it cleaned up. Get a mic on it and see.
Because I can see that.
Kind of looks deep through there. So you don't want to put nothing bad. I mean, this guy's going to put it out in the field and is never going to see asphalt again, probably. Put new bushings in here. All the bushings in this part right through here and the support keeps your third gear drum off of the stator down here. Or not the stator, but the center support rings and stuff. What did I do with my screwdriver, Teresa?
I don't know. You just had it in your hands. Oh, the big one.
Yeah. And you can see here how they have this opening of the snap ring in between here and here. We don't like to do that. We'll put the snap ring over through here, the ends of it. That way it don't break off. Of course, we have a 4-clutch system. Now you notice they don't have a wave in here at all for second gear. None at all.
Should they?
Yeah, truthfully they should. What we'll do, this could be why the sprag's beat up so bad. We'll go back and put a thick wavy plate in here to kind of soften it at the hit on this sprag right here. Anytime you make second gear firmer, it's harder on your sprag right here. That's why we always switch them up in 400s when we do trans brakes and stuff like that. So, but definitely, your later model has a wave that just sets down on the piston, then the steel goes against it. But this one here is definitely going to have a wave put in there. And that steel right here, this steel right here is warped all to heck. And even when I put something's warped all to heck. It could be the clutches, because the clutches are getting really hot, but something's bowed in here. I don't know. Now you notice they have this snap ring in the same way. See, well, that could break off right here. Now you got this piece flying around in there.
It won't be that big for very long.
No, it won't. There you go. Get this. Come on, get out of there. There we go. Now this is a flat snap ring on this side and a bevel on this side. So the bevel does go outward, the flat goes in. But always put the opening over here somewhere. Get it out of this big old area right here where these can break off. What I was talking about on this, where'd it go? There it is. This right here sets in here like this. If this bushing here gets wore out, and these bushings here get wore out, that's what keeps this drum from rubbing. This drum spins around that like that. If these bushings get wore, this drum will start rubbing on the metal here. So that's why these bushings here have to look brand new when you put them in. There can't be no wobbling on this shaft right here. So this will set in here like this. And the next thing you know, if this is wobbling really bad, and these are wobbling, it's just, I can't grab it. See that? Mm-hmm. So the bushings are totally wore out in this. I say whoever built it before just didn't put nothing in it probably. And you can see the
I was going to say, I see marks yeah.
down in here.
Mm-hmm.
So sun gears are getting hard to come by. I talked to Raymond yesterday, and they had some late models in, but they had no early. And there's a difference in the hole size right here. The early has a tiny hole right here. Excuse me, the late has a tiny hole here. The early has a big hole. So if I went and got one off the shelf over here, this hole would be tiny. So, and I've tried to drill them. You can't. This thing is so hard you can't drill them. Other than that, you could use it if you can make that hole bigger. Where your sprag runs, you want to Scotch-Brite this up. Check your bearings. You have a washer that goes up in here. Your overhaul kit's going to give you a choice of different style rings here. You can put these Teflon style here, or you can put the harder style ones. Different style. And then you got your drum, your reverse band goes around. You always want to look here to see if these pins have traveled this way and see if it's been rubbing on this washer right here. A lot of times we get them in here and this washer's grinded off halfway around. It's because these pins start coming up. What we do is we make sure they're flat or below surface, and then we come in here and then we TIG weld the pins right here where they can never move again on every one we do. Every one we do. I like to keep the lube ring in here. Keeps the planets more full of oil. We have this little case snap ring here, a little thin one. And basically what that's for is they make a thick and a thin support right here. If you have a thin, you have to have a snap ring. If you have a thick, you don't use a snap ring. Reverse band. I mean, it's tired too. It's just really tired. So we get them in here, somebody goes and patches them up, and they last a while, and then we get them in here, and there ain't nothing left. And we have to just literally put every piece back in here. But that's why we're in business, because what we do. We got all the time in the world to do it right. So you have a bearing here. You have another bearing here, and a little cap like that. But look how chewed up that is. A lot of metal has gone through this tranny, a ton. And they just put it all back in there. Bad bushing, stuff like that. That's why that's all grinded up. Well, you want to check your planetaries for sure. Check any of, check all your gears, the teeth, because this having so much metal in it, you want to make sure there's no chipping, none of the pins wobble, anything like that. I say you would not believe what we find once we get these things cleaned up, and how much more of this stuff is junk once we get them cleaned up and go, oh my gosh, come on, Teresa, it's pretty bad. But anyway, guys, we've waiting on a few parts to come in this morning so we can get this all back together. And the next victim, 92 model 4L60E. So guys, don't forget to go subscribe, push that notification bell, and you know, Teresa, we definitely thank you for videoing. So y'all have a great day.